right. Hi, Mind Blowing. How are you, sweetheart? Sorry I'm late, guys. I know I usually log on at 8, but I had some things I had to do before coming online. That's good to hear, honey. Let some people get in here. Guys, if you're new to the chat, if you're new to the channel, please be sure to say hello so I can say hello back to you. Okay, and for anyone who's just joining or passing through, wondering what this is about, this is a weekly mental health check-in for survivors and victims of narcissistic abuse, domestic abuse. So if you have any questions, excuse me, I gotta fix this damn pillow. If you have any questions, if you have any, you know, anything you want to share on your end, please, by all means, do so. Let's see. 180 Cleanse, how are you? Timothy, thank you so much for that, sweetheart. Mira Catania, thank you very much, sweetheart. Thank you. Mind blowing, still in the relationship? Okay, I mean, listen, guys, if you're still in a relationship with someone who's a narcissist or in a relationship with someone who is evidently very, very toxic, excuse me, you know, it does take time to detach from those situations. And of course, that's if you want to detach from that. Oh, you're very welcome, sweetheart. You're very welcome. I'm glad I didn't butcher your name. Raquel, I'm going through a divorce right now. Actually, I wanted to talk to you guys, and I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the whole. And I mentioned this on my YouTube live last week. If you've been keeping up with the Johnny Depp situation, the trial that he's going through right now, the defamation trial, I actually wanted to touch that a little bit, and get your opinion on it, guys. And especially you fellas, okay? Because I want men to know. Women, listen, we go through it, but I know you guys go through it too. So just keep that in mind that, we're not here to judge you. We support, those who unfortunately have been on the victim side of the coin, but are just trying to get through it. Okay. Yes, we definitely will be discussing it. Oh, Mr. Visionary, I really, 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 oh man, I'm gonna smile on that one. I'm gonna smile on that one because I know an attention seeker when I see one. So I know an attention seeker when I see one, and trust me, you'll get my attention, all right, but it might not be the kind that you like. Guys, let me start by just giving the disclaimer. I'm gonna have to do that. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to do that. So, disclaimer number one. I'm not a mental health professional, okay? I am someone just like you who's gone through some really, really traumatic crap. And I've done all the work possible that I need to do on myself with regards to my healing. I've done my due diligence. I study psychology. I do study, but I'm not accredited. Clearly, I'm not licensed, not yet. Okay, so just to let you know, this is in no way, shape, or form meant to replace any kind of mental health guidance that you are getting from a professional. If you are going to therapy, please continue to do so. Please continue to do what you need to do. I'm here to be a support system for you, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have with regards to the matter. Number two, I don't do bullying. I don't do attention seekers. Okay? I don't do that. We've already had enough of that bull. So if you're here and you're looking to bully anyone in the chat room, if you're looking to try some shit with me, I advise that you don't do it. I really do. Okay? Hopefully my moderators will get to you before I do because I'm not an influencer. I'm not a social influencer, and I want to make that abundantly clear, okay? No, I'm not being sponsored for any of this. I do not have to watch my mouth, okay? I will send you running home crying to your mother holding yourself. Don't play with me. Do not play with me, all right? Number three, y'all know I had to throw that in there. Every and anyone, if you're in support of narcissistic abuse awareness, domestic violence awareness, please throw up those purple hearts to give voices to the voiceless, okay? For anyone who has been going through the struggle, who's still trying to get through the struggle, and who just feel that They need that support. They need that extra, that extra love. Please, please, please throw up those purple hearts so you can show them that you're there to support them, and you can show them that we are aware and we are making a difference and we are causing more awareness. We're helping people the best way we can. Oh, Michelle, listen. I'll always be in the corner of those who need it and who are just trying to get through their life. I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm not trying to hurt nobody. But when people try to come for me, don't come for me unless I call for you. You know what I'm saying? So I got you. Don't worry about it. I love it. I'm already seeing all these purple. Oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you. So I just want to scroll back for a second. So we have Queen G214. Nice to see you, sweetheart. Let's see who else. Thank you, Blad. Blad, Blad, this is bullshit. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. I swear. I hope you guys are not changing your names because you know that I butcher names. Hold on a second. Skins, why so angry? I'm not angry. I'm Hispanic. I'm Latina. This is how we come. This is how we. There's no warning label. There's none of that. Okay. All right. I'm a sweetheart. Trust me. You get to know me. I'm a real sweetheart. But if you try to pull some stupid shit, then that sweetheart shit goes out the window. That's just the way I am. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm from New York, originally from Brooklyn. That's how we do it. So, Madeline, love from Puerto Rico. Welcome, sweetheart. Thank you, my Stella Bella. Christina, trying to get out of a relationship, he's definitely a narcissist. And something I listen, I know it's hard, okay, guys. If you're dealing with someone, you're still in a relationship with them, it is absolutely hard. It's very, very hard to get out of that. There may be tons of circumstances as to why you're still in that relationship with them. Okay, again, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. I'm here to simply try to help you find a solution to get yourself out of that situation. Okay. It's very, very hard to, whether it be your family, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, what have you. They're not easy. It's not very easy to get out of it. And I know that you probably have people coming to you saying, why can't you just walk away? Why can't you just let it go? Why can't you just, it is what it is and move on from it. These are clearly people who don't understand the kind of traumatic experience that you have gone through. Okay. And I'm not knocking them, but at the end of the day, if you're a car mechanic, you're not going to go to a hospital to try to perform an operation, are you? No. So at the end of the day, people need not speak about things they know nothing about. Okay. So just understand you got support here. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to tell anybody that, why don't you just leave and get up and leave? I understand why it's so hard to leave. And I understand why it's hard to break free from a trauma bond. So please don't think that you would ever get that kind of guff from me, because you won't. Okay, yes, for Mello, what do you think of the Amber and Johnny Depp case? So here's the interesting thing about it, guys. I've been following the case for, even though it's been going on for a while, I've been following it for the past, I would say maybe week or so. I've been, trying to catch glimpses of it throughout my workday, listening in on it, listening to the audio clips and everything. And it was interesting because I was talking to my best friend Amanda about it. A lot of you know Amanda. I was talking to her about it. And it's funny because she even said, you called it. I didn't get to watch too much of it. So I have to go back and rewatch certain things that I missed. But with the borderline personality disorder, a lot of people were calling her out to be a narcissist, which is common. It's common, guys, because borderlines, well, first of all, she's diagnosed as having or showing traits of borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder. And I called the borderline. I kind of configured that, if they have one personality disorder, more than likely they have more than one. she basically showed a lot of, erratic behaviors. She showed a lot of controlling behaviors, which is what a lot of borderlines do. And this is, of course, to these borderlines have a huge fear of abandonment. Okay, so what they end up doing is they end up sabotaging their relationships. They end up sabotaging, the connections they have with other people. So the one thing they fear most, in the end, they end up getting because all they do is self-sabotage. Now, this is in no way, shape, or form. If anybody's diagnosed with BPD, do not come for me, okay? I have BPD in my family, so don't come for me. But these are the facts, okay? These are the facts. Whether you suffer a mental illness or not, or just a personality disorder, these are the straight facts, okay? And I've been studying this for quite some time to learn and become sensitive to the types of behaviors that people show, okay? But in listening in on, for example, I listened in on a clip where he was telling her, it's pretty much done. I don't want to be with you, and she's arguing with him because she was trying to restrain him. She was trying to pretty much keep him hostage. And she's trying to have, a normal conversation with him. She's trying to basically subdue him, but, clearly with using words. And she's trying to regain control of the situation, because when the victim of the target of the manipulator, first of all, let's just go back 1 second. Anyone under a cluster B personality disorder, borderline, narcissistic, histrionic, or antisocial, those are all cluster B disorders, okay? These disorders are known to being very erratic, okay? They can be one way 1 minute and boom, flip to something else the next minute, which is why a lot of people, mistake them for bipolar disorder, because bipolar disorder, it's kind of the same thing when they're going through their highs or their lows. In this case, she was emotionally trying to manipulate him. I was listening in. I heard it. I heard her deflecting. She was deflecting. I heard, where she would ignore what he's saying. She heard him, but she wasn't listening because she was too busy trying to get her point across. She's trying to get him to understand, I want to be with you. Why do you keep running away? Why do you keep running away? But she's not pointing out her sabotaging behaviors. This woman damn near cut his finger off. Okay? Damn near cut his finger off. And he lied to the doctor about it, saying that, he hurt himself in another way. When they asked him, why did you lie? He clearly said it. I didn't want to basically, implicate her. I didn't want to incriminate her because, then that would have been more problems. And I get it, fellas. I get it. A lot of the time, men don't want to speak up on abuse. They don't want to speak up on domestic abuse because it's a pride thing. I get it. What man wants to sit there and say, my wife or my girlfriend beats me, or my wife or my girlfriend is, emotionally abusing me, psychologically abusing me? A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't, for fear of shame, being judged. So I completely get it. But often, if you don't take the opportunity, and I want to let you guys understand, yeah, she nicked his finger and she cut like the tip of it. They were at a bar. And, these are how crazy these fights can get, especially with the borderline. See, a narcissist, but, you got to understand, guys, to me, my opinion, they're all kind of one and the same. They all come from the same damn pot. It's just that a narcissist is more about having that attention. For example, she has histrionic personality disorder. Some of you may have dealt with someone or people who also have this disorder. And histrionic is pretty much, I need attention. I constantly need attention on me. If I am not the center of attention, then that is a huge problem. Histrionics tend to do things in a very provocative way. They tend to be overly flirtatious. They use their bodies to pretty much gain the validation and the attention of other people. Sounds like a narcissist, right? They're all under the same cluster. So a lot of their behaviors are the same, which is why a lot of these different personality disorders get confused with narcissistic personality disorder. They share a lot of the same characteristics, but someone of borderline personality disorder can actually be more dangerous than someone who is of narcissistic personality disorder. Okay? This is why you have to be careful. They can be extremely volatile. where they can lash out, they can black out, they can lash out, and they could cause the most extreme damage. I noticed that when the psychologist was talking about it on the stand, she's referring to the defendant and she's explaining the disorders, she's explaining her behaviors. If you guys were watching it and you pay attention, you can see the frustration and the aggravation in her face because she's not getting the kind of response that she's really looking for. She was hoping to gain sympathy and empathy from everyone else. And if you notice that when she first came out about the domestic abuse, listen, a woman comes out and says, my boyfriend, my husband, my famous boyfriend, my famous husband beat me throughout our relationship. And all of a sudden, everybody goes flocking to them because I was explaining this to Amanda earlier. This is not socially accepted, but this is a social norm. And the social norm is that the majority of domestic violence cases that are reported are men to women. It's not always women to men. Some of them are, but not all of them. And because, over the years, the decades, women have been in women's shelters, women have been, murdered. It's just so many different statistics. Everybody went flocking to her without really knowing what the full story was, without really understanding. And look, Johnny Depp, he has a history, but it doesn't show violence. That's the thing. People who've been in his life have had nothing but nice things to say about him. So, he had drug use, alcohol use. Who hasn't? Who hasn't? And I personally think that what she did in his time, because these are moments where he would be most vulnerable. These are moments where he would be most weak. Narcissistic women, borderline personality disorder women, these types of women who like to keep control take advantage of that. They take advantage of that because the person who's intoxicated, the person who is inebriated is pretty much submissive. They're not going to fight. They're not going to argue. It's pretty much, I can get away with so much stuff. And I also believe that the videos of when she was recording him, when he was upset, when he was just pretty much reacting, I believe that was his emotional response towards the toxicity, towards the BS that was going on in their relationship. We've all been there. We've all been there. I'm looking at these, and I'm trying to, I want to see when she goes on the stand. I love to analyze. I love to look at the body language. I listen to what they're saying, and throughout the time he's been testifying, I see a broken man. That's what I see. I see a broken man, and I see women the same, and in that broken man, okay, I see the women who have also been in that man's shoes. Okay, and those of you who have been in that man's shoes, those of you who have been in that situation, you can resonate with him because you know that feeling. And it was clear that he loved her. He still does. He still loves her, guys. He still loves her. That's not something that you could just get over overnight. But he has seen the reality of the toxicity and the dangers if he stays with this person. And I think that because he rejected her and because he rejected the idea of them being together, being in a relationship together, I think that she pretty much just flipped it around and said, well, let me pull the DV card. Because, there were times that they got into it, cops were called, and there were no signs of abuse. There were no signs of altercation in that sense that it was physical abuse. He did explain the situation that happened when, if you saw the pictures of her bruises on her face, that she said he headbutted her, but he said, no, we were in a scuffle. Because you got to remember too, guys, if you got a woman who clearly is running with the narrative of, I'm the damsel in distress, he's the guy. So if no matter what happens, even if I'm beating the crap out of this dude, because she knew he wasn't going to hit her. She knew he wasn't going to strike back. This is when I explain about these female narcissists. This is why I talk about it constantly when I say, don't fall asleep on these girls. And I mean this to society in general. Don't fall asleep on these girls. These girls know how to use the I'm going to hit you because I know you're not going to hit me. I'm going to call the cops on you. Amanda was telling me that she never pressed charges against him for it. Now, anyone in domestic violence, anyone who was really, really hurt and it was a threat, okay, that person was a severe threat to the victim, okay, any one of us, because I know a lot of you have been there, who called the cops would have pressed charges if it meant getting that person out of the home because they're dangerous, because you have to get away from them. But in order to do that, you have to have them physically restrained somewhere else. She didn't press charges on him. This was a game. And this is what a lot of these female narcissists, these female sociopaths, and these female psychopaths do. They basically want to hold the reins. They want the full control. And by that, even at the risk of ruining your reputation, your life, your career, they're going to do that as long as they have. And after everything, she still tried to keep him there. She tried to keep him there. When he told her, he said, this was the clip I heard earlier, and he said, she said, I stayed. You told me not to leave. I didn't leave. I stayed. And he said, yeah, you stayed. And she was talking over him. They do that. They talk over you. They'll continue to talk over you because they're not trying to listen to what you have to say. They're trying to implant in your brain what they want you to think, what they want you to believe. And he said, and I heard him, and that's the crazy part. I heard him, so he had to repeat himself. He said, but nothing has changed. Nothing changed. And she kept talking and talking and talking, going over him, talking. And then when he finally was able to get a word in edgewise, he said, yes, you stayed, but nothing has changed. But I stayed. You wanted me to stay, and I stayed, but I stayed. And this right here is a clear-cut example of I'm abusing you. I'm hurting you. I am, pretty much breaking you down. I'm tearing you down. Thank you so much for the gifts, guys. I'm tearing you down. I'm breaking you down. But I want you to stay and just, take it all in, and just love me. Give me the supply that I need. Give me the attention that I want. Constant deflection. She was constantly deflecting onto him. She was sitting there talking all kinds of nonsense. And she pretty much, when he asked her, did you not hit me? Did you not? I think it was, she punched him in the face, I think. She punched him in the face. A cigarette in his face. It was just all kinds of craziness. And her response to it was, well, I'm paraphrasing here, but really, who's going to believe that? Who's going to believe you? I'm only like 125 pounds. Okay. How could you say, and he said, I didn't ask you all of that. And he was asking her for the sole purpose because he was recording every conversation they were having. She kept deflecting. She kept basically trying to turn the subject, they do that. They try to change the subject in the midst of an argument. And they'll try to, bring up the stuff you did. They'll try to bring up how you reacted. They won't bring up what they did that made you react that way. They'll bring up, your instability. Your reactions are considered unstable. So that's definitive of, this person has a lot of instability. So when she was recording, if you guys saw the video that she was recording when he was banging the cabinets and he was slamming and doing all that, which they tried to use that in court too. Yes, they did. While he's banging everything, it's because he was pissed, because that man is broken and you reach your limit. You reach your point. Some of us didn't get to that point. Some of us were still in the stages of when he was trying to make things work with her. He was trying to make things work and trying to continue the relationship, but all she kept doing was tearing him down. She kept tearing him down. She kept verbally abusing him, physically abusing him, knowing that he wouldn't lift a finger to her. Okay. And the one person I got to say that I think I liked the most was the ex-assistant. The assistant who testified, who was just like no nonsense. Does not care about her, doesn't care that she's a celebrity or anything. She spoke it like it was. And she had nothing but nice things to say with regards to Johnny Depp, because sometimes the man is a good man and the woman is the abuser. Sometimes that is the case, guys. Absolutely. Hi, Juanito. How are you? My ex out here right now making rumors about me, but when people get to know me, they said it ain't adding up because it won't ever add up. It will not ever add up. If you stayed your ground, if you and I think that's one of the reasons why he did this too. It wasn't about the money. It was not about the money. That man was making money. It was about, the fact that someone would go out there and run a smear campaign, fabricate these lies. Listen, if someone goes around talking crap about me, talking about Erica's this, Erica's that, show your receipts, because I know who I am. I know who I am and I know how I am. So for you to run around and try to tell people, well, this is how this person is and this is what they do, they get to know the person that this is totally not who they described you to be, because they're lying. They have to lie. They have to lie. They have to fabricate, because they have to be the one now that basically is the victim, right? The victim. But remember, if you guys saw my recent video that I put up, the hero victim complex, they will run these lies, run these, these fabrications, do all of this, and then when stuff starts to hit the fan, they will come in, swoop in, and save the day. Okay. And I gave an example of how the hero complex is. In this case, she thought that she was being, the hero, and that she was, speaking on behalf of all battered women, speaking on behalf of women who were involved in domestic violence. What she actually did was she made it worse. She made it worse, because now it's proven that she's been fabricating all of this. This is the boy who cried wolf, the girl who cried wolf. And now women who are going through this form of abuse, who are actually going through this form of abuse, may have to face the struggles of being considered and being heard, because this person decides to go out there and fabricate lies about domestic violence that didn't happen. And now they're making, and it's going to make it harder for women who are going through the motions and going through the process. So just as she thinks she's being a hero by sitting there talking about, I was domestically abused, listen, would we consider her that? Yes, if it actually happened. But if it didn't happen, then you're nothing but a liar. You're just a straight up liar, and you are making it harder for other women who are going through the motions, who are struggling to get away from their abusers, who are struggling to get the help that they need because they're trying to escape from their abusers. And it's mind-boggling to me, because I'm like, listen, I know I do my studies on it. I know that I do my videos because I know these kind of women existed. But in seeing firsthand what it is that I'm seeing, it's like, wow, like, you really, really try to run this man's name through the mud, make him look bad in front of everyone, try to ruin his career. And on top of it, you have no credentials. You have nothing to back you up. And see, this is where he was smart, because he said, no. He at some point, something just probably went off in his head, and he was just like, this can't be me. It cannot be me. I know she projected onto him. She's manipulated him. She's gaslit him. She's deflected. She used him. She basically took advantage of him. And at the end of the day, he takes accountability for his own substance abuse problems. He takes accountability for what it is that he does by choice, because that was his choice. But she did not help. She did not help. Anybody who's facing addictions, if you had a good woman in your corner, that woman is going to try her best to help you break from that. She's going to try her best to help you get help for that. She did the total opposite. She took advantage of the fact that he has substance abuse problems and he had a whole lot of issues. And not only that, But even the psychologist said that she did not show any signs of PTSD, no types of signs of post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a lot of what people who go through abuse experience. And for longer periods of time, it would have been CPTSD. So you're telling me that you don't have PTSD. You're telling me that you went out on national television and on all these magazines talking about I was abused. Man, listen. And now you have gone and made it to the point where we as women who actually go through these experiences, who've actually been through abuse, now you make us look like liars. Now you make people question us. Now you make people question the things that we have gone through. Well, did you really go through that? Did you really? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to show you the busted lip that I had? You want me to give you a go back so they can punch me in the lip again to show you that this is what happened? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yes, the real Baron. It's women like her that make people not believe women who really need help and are being abused. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing if you're in a relationship with someone and they're treating you like crap. In this case, you guys dealt with narcissistic people. You dealt with the kind of people that had all kinds of stuff projected onto them, and they treated you like crap because, listen, a narcissist, I mean, we've gone over this before. We know what their MOs are. They're idealizing you. They're basically putting you on the pedestal, and then next thing you know, they're devaluing you at the flip of a switch. They're devaluing you, they're putting you down, or they're criticizing you, or they're making you feel inadequate. They're making you feel like you're not enough. They're making you feel like the things that you do aren't enough. And then when they start to see that, at some point, I know a lot of you were probably like, whoa, wait a minute, what is going on here? Okay. Because you always reach that point. You'll always reach that point where you're going to start to question things because just how did it go from this to this? So what happens? They got to love bomb you because now it's like, okay, let me love bomb them. I was having a bad day. I didn't mean to take it out on you. I'm sorry. I love you. Here's some flowers. Here's some candy. Let's kiss and make up. Let's just forget about it. And the thing of it is, and the interesting part about all of this is that they want you to forget. They expect you to just forget. You're still remembering that? Come on. That happened like eons ago. And that's exactly the thing that was going on between him and Amber Heard. She wanted him to forget. She wanted him to forget the abuse. She wanted him to forget everything. You're still stuck on that? Let's move on to the next thing. What's the next thing going to be? You're going to cut my toe off? You're going to cut my toe off or something, much more important, much more valuable to me? Yeah. Yep. Christina Maria says, yes, I'm a psychotherapist. I called BPD last week. And that's what I said. Yes, she sounds more borderline. It's just the way it sounds because the erraticness, the behaviors. It's like, narcissists are known to being erratic, yes, but it just, I don't know. I guess maybe it's like intuition. And I said, she could possibly have NPD, but I'm pretty sure that's borderline. And amazingly enough, I didn't even, like, I had known about BPD until a few years ago because I found out other people in my family had that, you know? And that was crazy because in my relationship, I thought I inherited that. I thought I had borderline personality disorder because the person I was dealing with was convincing me that I'm toxic. You're the toxic one. You're the one who's creating all these problems. It's you who's doing these things. I need to get away from you. And I'm like, well, what the hell am I doing? And the crazy part is that you internalize, you take all of the projections and you take them, evading the accountability because the reality of it is that they're the ones who are creating. Narcissists are self-sabotagers. They self-sabotage. They sabotage their connections and their relationships. And in the midst of all of that, I'm thinking to myself, Okay, this person is dissatisfied with me. This person is displeased with me, and I don't know what else to do. And I learned that they used my reactions, my emotional reactions towards the behaviors that they were projecting onto me. They used it against me. They used it against me. Listen, you can become toxic yourself if you stay around the wrong kind of people long enough. You can start to pick up behaviors. You could pick up habits and patterns. You can pick up those things too. And I noticed that my reactions towards the behaviors, they went and flipped it around and made me out to be the toxic one. Not even the abusive one. I'm not even going to say abusive because there was nothing there. There was nothing there that would even indicate that I was being abusive. But they made me out to be the extremely toxic one. They made me out to be the one who was was the root of the toxicity of our relationship. And the fact of the matter is that though I have my insecurities, though I suffered codependency, and yes, I had anxiety, at the end of the day, I did not treat that person nowhere near the way they would treat me. And the level of it was just back and forth. You didn't know. A lot of you probably didn't know, like, what mood is the person going to be in today. Their mood swings were crazy. You don't know what mood they're going to be in today. You don't know how they're going to talk to you today. If they're calling you on the phone, you don't even know how to answer the phone. It gets to the point where you're like, let me calm my voice down because I don't want to sound like I'm yelling. Because the minute I'm like, hello, oh, why are you yelling on the phone? Or why are you angry? What happened to you? You understand? So you start to change everything about yourself. And interestingly enough, remember the psychologist also mentioned that a lot of borderlines along, which we know with narcissists, they mimic the people that they're with because they have identity crisis. Okay. They don't have a sense of identity. They don't know their identity. So when they're involved with other people, in that moment, they're picking up the same habits as you. They're mimicking you. This is what we call mirroring. They're mirroring you. And with mirroring you, your behaviors, your contributions, they're mirroring these things. You're thinking that what they're giving to you, what they're doing for you is coming from them genuinely. The reality of it is, and I said this before, I want to say it again, you were loving yourself, believe it or not, because that person was copying your behaviors to give it to you. You were, in a matter of speaking, loving on yourself. You were loving yourself. You were basically being with yourself, in that time. When they flipped the switch and they became that completely different person, that person that you couldn't even recognize, that was truly them. That was who they were. Okay. And oftentimes they'll do that if they feel like your level of supply, you're not doing the things that you used to do, which is they'll come to you, or maybe not. Maybe they might not come out to you directly, but they'll give you hints. Oh, things aren't the same. You don't do the things that you used to do before. You don't buy me things like you used to. You don't take me places like you used to. It's not even generally about the quality time. It's the quantity of things. You don't do this, you don't do that, you're not getting this, we're not going here, we're not traveling like we always used to do, and because you're not fulfilling your end of the bargain in that you're not overly supplying them, they are basically now starting to slowly seep into who they really are, because now they're becoming reactive to your failing to supply them. You understand? And you see the difference? You become reactive towards their behaviors, right? But their behaviors towards you. They become reactive towards your behaviors, but under a totally different context. It's not even the same thing. It's more about, well, you stop doing this for me. You no longer take me here. You no longer do this. You no longer do that. That's benefiting me. So I'm going to treat you like shit. They feel entitled. They feel entitled. They feel entitled to the things that you give them. They feel entitled to the time that you are supposed to reserve for them. They feel entitled when they want something right then and there, they have to have it right then and there. If you're not giving them the supply that they want, then what happens? They start to distance themselves. They start to get a little detached because they don't know. And oftentimes people, people tend to think that, listen, the things that they do, they're not always fully aware of their behaviors. I really got to call bullshit on that one. I really do. I mean, I'm sorry. If I'm sitting there on the floor screaming and crying and banging on the floor, you're not giving me attention. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. I know I'm being a little child. Like, I'm acting petty with it. You understand? But the things that they do, they're doing to basically manipulate you to submit, manipulate you to come forward and give them more. So when they start to pull away, they start to detach. They know that you're going to react to that. They know that you're going to respond to that. When they start to pull away, you're like, wait a minute. Why is this person pulling away? Why is this going on? You start to become reactive. It's like that push. It's that push pull. So as they're pretty much, thank you, user 1166. Thank you. Marie, as if you're talking about my husband. He hates hearing you, but that's okay. I mean, listen, no love lost over here. There is no love lost over here. But because they know that you will react, they know that you'll be questioning. You'll be questioning, well, why is this person, kind of pulling away, or why are they rejecting me, or why are they, why are they not giving me attention, or, doing the niceties, the nice little things they used to do. It's because that's a manipulation tactic. That's to basically subtly coerce you. I like to say it that way. It's basically an indirect coercion. So you're like, okay, what's the problem? What's the problem? What's going on? And of course, you have to be careful with how you bring it to their attention, because if you're not careful, it'll spark an argument. It'll spark an argument. It'll make them very aggressive. It'll make them very defensive. They'll get very hostile. So if you go to them and say, so what's going on? How come we're not doing the things that we used to do? Why aren't we spicing up our relationship, or doing this or doing that? You have to be careful with your words and how you speak to them. Now, this is in your relationship, and how you speak to them, because if you're not, it'll trigger them. It'll trigger them, and it'll push them into becoming very, very defensive. It's basically their filter. Remember, I told you their mind, they have a filter. Their filter is taking your words and twisting it. It's twisting it. So as you're speaking to them and it's coming in, it's twisting the words, and it's pretty much telling them something else. So what's going on? You're not being a man. Am I going to have to go find somebody else to be a man? And that's literally what goes on in their head. And that's why they become extremely defensive. And because, listen, these people know they lack certain qualities. They know they lack empathy. They know they lack the emotional maturity to sustain a relationship. They know they lack these things, which is why it's kind of shocking. It's extremely shocking to you and, to other victims that any of this is possible, simply because they showed you a different side to them. Yet again, they showed you the side of yourself. That's what they showed you. They showed you what they've learned. They showed you, well, Rose is she's giving me, an anniversary gift. So I got to give her an anniversary gift. It's that mimicking. It's that back and forth. It's not something that's just purely genuine. And if they initiate giving you maybe gifts or doing things, as a form of, they call it the love language. I don't really follow that. I don't follow the whole love language thing, but if they do things that in your eyes, you perceive as affection, you perceive it as, doing something just nice for me out of the goodness of their heart or what have you, it's because they've learned these things. They've learned how to do these things throughout past relationships. So they, listen, if you dealt with someone who's been through 15 relationships before they met you, they know the game pretty well. They know how to do things. Over time, they learn. So they already know off the bat what they would need to do. They have an idea, ladies, they have an idea of what women want. Fellas, they have an idea of what some men want. And this is all based on learned behavior. It's not based on something that comes from them within, genuinely within them. It's just to basically get you to become vulnerable with them. Because the minute you show vulnerability and the minute you entrust that vulnerability, in their hands, that's where they're like a kid in a fair, they can go on as many rides as they want. They could do whatever it is they want to do. And what makes them feel so entitled, what makes them feel like they can do things and get away with it is, of course, you're enabling. Of course, you're taking them back. Of course, you're pretty much, because what we allow will continue, right? So each and every time, listen, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. I've known people to give second chances. I've known people to do that. And I'm not knocking you for it. You give a second chance. I mean, you gotta take it, at face value. All right. You have to. But if the person betrays your trust that second time around, that's it. That's it. For me, it's once. But if you do second chances, that's fine. But if they've already shown you that, you can't continuously go back into cycles with these people. Because after that, they're skating around you. You let them slide the first time, the second time, they're skating all around you now. Now they know what they have to do. Now they know how they have to talk to you. Now they know how to get around. They find the loopholes and they get around. That's why I've heard stories of people who have gone through discards with the same person 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And they can't seem to understand why. Why can't I just rid myself of this person and, start anew? Because the trauma bond, you haven't healed that. You can't, it takes a lot of willpower if you're breaking free from a narcissist or an emotional manipulator, psychological manipulator. It takes a lot of willpower. Some people don't feel strong enough to do it. They end up staying in these cycles with the same people. And it goes for family too, guys. It goes for family too. It's not just for romantic relationships. If you are in a relationship with your family, it could be your mom, your dad, your siblings, your, other family members. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. People tend to think that, well, because, this is my family. I can't walk away from my family. I can't, abandon my family. If it means your mental health, yeah, you just might have to. You just might have to. Okay? I mean, listen, the whole point of getting married is to move out of your home and, you have a husband, you have a wife, and you're breaking free from the family, under, of course, in that aspect. But if it's your own mother, if it's your own father, and they have been doing nothing but projecting onto you and, and mind you, it could be either way. It doesn't have to just be scapegoating. It could be, golden child. Being a golden child in a manipulator's mind, if you're their golden child, you are simply a doll for them. You're a project. You're their project. Okay. A lot of you have dealt with grandiose, entitled, narcissistic people. And these are the kind of people who have had their, the narcissist who was the caregiver for them. They projected their ego onto that person. So that person feels like I deserve whatever I want. I can get whatever I want, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay? Nobody could tell me no. And when you do tell them no, what happens? Same bullshit as this. They try to defame, they try to smear your name, they will run you through the mud. Their level of, fear of rejection is a lot greater than the average person because they know their behaviors warrant them being abandoned. It warrants them to be alone. And the mere fact that they can get people with that superficial charm, because that's what they do. That's how they got a lot of people. They got people with superficial charm. And don't take the charm as in, they came in with, the glittery sparkled aura around them. No, they could have come in as completely humbled people. They could have come in as the kind of person who had, seemed like they had very low self-esteem, or, they would put themselves down, or they'll just, I'm just a regular Joe Schmo and I'm no one special. They could have come in that form too. It doesn't have to be the whole look at me, I'm extravagant. Okay. I think a lot of people get that mixed up too. A lot of people think that it's just, no. The covert ones are the ones who come in very, very stealthy. You would not realize you're dealing with a narcissist if you ever do realize it for until later on, until the relationship, much later on. It goes either way. Let me just go on and just. Yeah, especially when it's your own mother. Shaking my head. It was hard because my dad passed away. And you see, narcissistic mothers will try to enmesh their children in abusive relationships if it means they're going to gain something out of it. Okay? They're going to try to enmesh their children. If you guys seen the movie Tyler Perry's Family Reunion, and if you're familiar with it, in the story, you had the chick, like one of the main chicks. She was supposed to marry this wealthy dude, and he's very abusive towards her, extremely abusive towards her. And the mother was like trying to enmesh her. She was really, really trying to enmesh her in the relationship. She's telling the mother, "Mom, he hits me. He hits me. He puts his hands on me." And the response that the mother gave to her was, "Well, you got to try not to make him upset. Try not to make him angry. What are you doing that makes him upset? That makes him angry?" Because she's gaining something out of it. That man had money, which meant if her daughter marries him, then she's going to be well off. She's going to be taken care of. And this, in the same movie, this was the same mother who allowed her ex-husband, or her daughters, because the two daughters had separate fathers. She let that daughter's father rape her other daughter just so he wouldn't leave her. Narcissistic mothers do this too. They allow this type of abuse onto their children, just so they are not left alone, just so they're not abandoned, or they're left to fend for themselves, or have to be single mothers. They will stoop as low as sacrificing their children in whatever aspect you can think of. Okay, they will enmesh their kids in toxic relationships because it's gonna do one of two things, guys. Gonna do one of two things. Okay, you're gonna be in such an abusive relationship that when the time comes, if you decide to leave, you're coming right back home to the toxic parent to take care of the toxic parent. Okay, or if you stay in that relationship, if that toxic parent, has something to gain out of it, they're going to gain it. If they're not, and of course, because you do have narcissist mothers, and it's not all of them, but you have a lot of them who abandon their kids. They leave their kids. They can give birth to their kids and they can just, abandon them, leave them with either the other parent, leave them with other people in their family, leave them with anyone else, but they will not take the responsibility of taking care of their kids. So for those of you who have dealt with narcissistic parents, who have dealt with these kinds of parents that have used you as tools, you have dealt with a kind of narcissistic parent that didn't abandon you physically, though they did abandon you emotionally and psychologically, but not psychologically in the sense that you think. They were still there for you psychologically, but it was to utilize manipulation. It was not to be there to help structurize your mind so you can create healthy relationships, so you can have healthy dynamics with other people. It was a way to manipulate you to get you to pretty much be servants for them. And it's to pretty much control your life, even if you don't live with them anymore, even if you're not even in their presence anymore. They will still control your life. And the sad part is, having a narcissistic parent, when you have a narcissist parent, for many years, they will control your life, even though you're not around them, even though you're not in their presence, even though you may think you've healed and you moved on and you did everything you've had to do. There's still that part that will always, that will always control you. And it's simply because a lot of the time, children of these types of parents, when the parents are emotionally detached and they're emotionally avoidant, they have no type of empathy whatsoever. The children internalize that, and they try their hardest to seek their parents' approval. They try their hardest to, say, hey, mom, dad, look at me, love me, show me love, show me, that you approve of me. And what they end up doing, which is what creates codependence, this is what creates codependence. You end up trying to seek approval from other people. You try to seek it from your relationships that you enter into, because you weren't getting it from your parents. So because you're not getting this, you enter the kind of relationships with people that are similar to your parents. Okay, you're going to have two types, guys. They're going to either be similar to your parents, and now you find yourself fighting for that person's approval and love and affection and attention, which, essentially is the narcissistic person you were dealing with. Or you'll end up being with someone who is of secure attachment and who, is healthy, but you become unhealthy for them. You become unhealthy for them, and you end up having the anxiety, you end up having the insecurity problems, the trust issues, the fear of abandonment. It happens. It's happened to me, guys. I've been in a relationship with someone and I ran them off because of my codependency. It has happened. And in the end, it's all about you. It's all about you. If your parents, and I want you guys to know this, if your parents didn't give you the validation that you needed, if they didn't show you the kind of love that you were really looking for, hey, listen, that's not a reflection of you. That's a reflection of them and how they were raised. Okay? Because they went through the same thing probably with their parents. And they go, we go with what we learn, right? But the point of you breaking those generational curses is because you're basically going to do the opposite. You're going to go against the grain. You're going to try something different. So your next future generations will know how to love more healthily and be more involved, in healthy relationships, as opposed to creating the toxic ones that we have all gone through. That, listen, we can say that, I wish we didn't go through it. I wish it didn't happen. But at the end of the day, we can also say, I'm glad it happened because it taught me something. It taught me what I need to do with myself. Those people are still going to be who they are, guys. Whether they're your parents, your exes, your friends, whomever, they're still going to be who they are. These people live in complete denial. Okay. If they won't go for help, if they try to go to a therapist, if you try to say, listen, go to a therapist, they'll be in complete denial. They're not going to sit here and say, okay, yeah, and if they do, they're doing it to appease you. They're not doing it because they really want to get help. They're doing it to just shut you up. That's still not a good reason to try to make something work with someone who has a personality disorder or a mental illness. These are things that they have to work on their own. Beauty baby, how do I stop having abandonment issues. Well, of course, clearly, going for therapy is always a great way to start things. But it's all about your mind. It's all about your perception. Okay? Your perception. And people who have abandonment issues always perceive that they're going to be left behind. So what they end up doing is they end up doing things that it ends up getting them abandoned. Okay? Because it's trust issues. The issues are basically within you, but it's within your mind. When you come to realize, this is where you have to deprogram your mind. You have to pretty much take out all that old crap that was in there, and you have to start putting factual things in there. Okay? And the factual things that you start putting in there is, I love myself enough that I don't have to worry if someone leaves or not, because I will still be standing. I will still be good if this person leaves my life. People who suffer abandonment issues are pretty much, oh my gosh, if this person leaves me, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? How am I going to be? Okay. You're already putting power in someone else's hands. You're giving them the power to say when. You're giving them the power to say how. All right. These are all things that you have to put back into your hands. People who suffer abandonment issues think that everyone who comes into their life, if I don't cling on to them, if I don't hold them, then they're going to leave me. They're going to walk out on me. They're going to close that door, and I'm going to be here by myself, lonely, hurting, and crying. And again, it's perception. It's a thought process. That's all it is. Once people realize that abandonment issues, the thought of abandonment, the fear of abandonment, once they realize that it's just a thought process, because people are going to come and go regardless. Okay? They're going to come and go regardless. The problem that people have in staying in toxic relationships is because they're so scared of being alone that they'll stay with someone who treats them like utter crap just because they have a warm body in their bed, just because they have someone staying in the house with them. So you got to think of it this way. I can be alone and just love myself, love on myself, do all the things I ever wanted to do. I don't have to answer to anybody else. I don't have to prove myself to anyone else. I don't have to seek approval or validation from anyone else. Or I can be in a relationship with someone who treats me like crap, gives me the bare minimum, doesn't compliment me, doesn't compliment this relationship, doesn't do anything right by me, cheats on me, lies to me, projects on me, verbally abuses me, all because I want someone to just be here next to me. Think about that. It's a thought process. That's all it is. When you come to realize how much, you just got to work on loving yourself. You just got to work on loving yourself. You have to work on reminding yourself, I'm a beautiful person. I'm a kind person. I love myself. God loves me. There are so many people in my life who care about me. My friends, my family. I don't need someone. You want someone. You don't need someone. And the minute you put that in your mind, you continue to say that to yourself. Girl, I had abandonment issues for 36 years. 36 years. I'm going to be 40 next year. Okay. I'm going for almost 4 years. 4 years. Codependent free, abandonment free. I didn't think I would be able to get over it. I didn't think I would be able to get through it. But I just kept saying to myself, and I kept putting that logic in my head. But wait a minute. Okay, if you walk out the door, I'm not losing anything. You are. I'm not losing anything. I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be doing what I want to do. I'm still going to be enjoying life. I'm going to be working. I'm still going to be taking care of my kid. If people decide to leave you for someone else, you have to come to the terms of, that's not because of me. That was your choice. That's because of you. Okay? I just learned, for me, I'd rather be alone and in my own company. I'd rather be by myself, enjoying life on my own, than be with someone who didn't appreciate what I had to offer, who didn't appreciate me, who would leave me for someone else who would look at me like I wasn't good enough or I wasn't adequate enough or project their trauma onto me and I had nothing to do with it. All of that for what? Just to tell Facebook and Instagram and all, social media, I'm in a relationship with somebody. You know how many of those relationships you guys see online that are people who are dealing with that right now? They're not happy, but they're posing to be happy because all the world loves a show and everybody, they have to fit in and show everyone, hey, I'm in a relationship, and they're miserable. They're miserable, but because they gotta keep up appearances, they gotta show up. Meantime, she probably hasn't gotten laid in 6 months. No, 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 it's not worth it. For that, you be alone. Be on your own. Go traveling with your girlfriends. Guys, go traveling with your guy friends. Go hiking. Go do the things that you love to do. Because once you realize how much you'll learn to love yourself, that stuff comes to you, man. People like that gravitate towards you. You don't have to, it could be at any given time. You could be at a coffee shop. You could be at a bookstore. You could be at a movie theater yes, you can go to the movies by yourself too, guys. It has happened. It's not a bad thing. Right? And not only that, but it's a lot cheaper. Think about it. It's a lot cheaper. You don't have to go half and half, on a life with somebody who is not even contributing on other levels. No. Get the matinee, go to the movies. Feel like splurging a little bit. If you like me, I get nachos and I get the pretzel bites. Yes, I'm a fat ass. I'm greedy. But hey, I'm eating for one. Don't matter to me. Enjoy life. Enjoy it. Be by yourself for a while. Be by yourself for a while. I said it. I said I got over 36 years of codependency, having external people validate me, relying on other people for emotional validation, approval, trying, overextending myself for people, all because I just wanted to feel loved, because I just wanted to feel special. I wanted to feel like, okay, and if I didn't feel special or if I didn't get that reciprocated, I did something wrong. I don't live like that no more. I don't. I just look at myself in the mirror now and I'm like, shit, you all types are cool. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. And the person who's meant to come into my life will gravitate towards me. They'll gravitate towards me. Okay? The universe knows how to work in our favor. God knows how to work in our favor. He knows how to work. But it's when it's our time. Divine timing. It's all it is. That's all it is. So in the meantime, enjoy your freedom. Enjoy your time. Enjoy being by yourself and doing the things you like to do. And when that time comes, it's going to come in when it needs to. When it needs to. Yeah. I've been single for 7 months officially. Now it's one of the best decisions. And for everybody who thought that, oh my gosh, I'm going to be alone forever. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be single forever. When am I going to find love? When am I going to do this and that? When you think like that, you end up settling. You end up settling for things that you don't really want, but because you're afraid to be alone, you end up accepting whatever's willing to come into your life, And then you got these superficial charmers out there who know that you want something. They know you're looking. Listen, if you're on dating sites, they know you're looking for something, right? That's why a lot of narcissists go on these sites, because they know people are looking. They know when you're looking for something. So clearly, if you meet someone on a dating site, they know you're looking for something, whether it be companionship, whether it be love, whether it be marriage or what have you, they know. But if you just basically say, something, God, I'm gonna leave it in your hands. When the time is right, when you say it's right and I'm ready for it, I want what I deserve, not what I can just, settle for right now because I'm afraid to be alone. You don't need that. You don't. You don't. Because then you'll end up going through different people. You'll end up going through different relations. And it's just going to be like so much time because you're going to be investing time into other people. It's going to be wasted time. You're better off just letting it come to you. Let it come to you. Meantime, work on yourself. Work on yourself. Build yourself up. Build up your confidence. Look in the mirror and, if and ladies, listen, you guys like to wear your makeup. You like to do your hair. You like to get dressed up. You like to go outside. You like to feel good about yourself. Do it. Do it. It's not vanity. It's not, conceitedness. It's because your confidence will exude. You feel good about yourself. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Exactly. Exactly. Shan Lang says, I'm away for someone on my level healing, not a narcissistic. Exactly. Exactly. That's all you need. You guys got this, man. You guys got this. I said it before. I said it again. You're beautiful women, guys. You're good looking dudes, man. You guys don't even have to worry. Just focus more on you. Heal your traumas. Heal, what you had gone through. You learn from it. Heal from it. Because that person who's meant to come into your life will come into your life when you have healed and you have let it go. You have to let that go. Because if you don't let it go, you'll end up bringing in that trauma from your last relationship into your next one, and you'll end up projecting onto that person. Previous victims can become abusers too. That's what abusers are. Abusers are unhealed victims. They are unhealed victims, okay? They are victims who have pretty much adopted the abusive behaviors, never gotten healed, never went for help, never did anything for themselves, and now they've become abusers. And this is what separates you from them. This is what separates you from them. Spicy mommy, my narc literally said, that's why you're alone. Yeah, and that's why they have to continuously seek other people for validation. And they got to continuously look for supply. And they have to continuously. And the crazy part is, they tell you that, but they're still watching you. They're still watching you. They're still watching what you do. They're still watching where where I don't want to scare anybody, but it's the truth. And that's why I say be very careful with yourselves too. Be careful with the information you put out there. Be careful, like if you're going places, some of you like to tag where you're at. I'm not knocking you for it, but you have to be careful. You have to be careful because you don't know who's monitoring your stuff. And then next, boom, you're thinking you're sitting there having some tea with some friends or what have you. And that person pops up out of nowhere. You have to be careful with that. Chili, my partner has called our wedding off because I won't talk to his dad. Why won't you talk to his dad? Beauty baby, I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to hurt anybody like he hurt me. And that's a good way to think about it. That's a very, very good way to think about it. You don't want to put that onto someone else, especially someone who doesn't deserve it, who didn't deserve it. I've been through a lot in my life, and people would wonder, well, you went through all of this, but why didn't you simply, hurt, well, which is kind of what the saying that they put, hurt people, hurt people. That's not always the case. When you have people who've been hurt, but they're still optimistic, they're still, in my case, codependent, they hold that optimism. It's like, okay, it's nothing new. My last relationship was verbally abusive. My last relationship was, emotionally inept. They were emotionally immature. They were, and you just look at it as another one bites the dust. That's how codependents are. We looked at it as it didn't work out. It is what it is. And I hadn't realized that I was dealing with narcissistic people. I hadn't realized I was dealing with, borderlines or bipolars or sociopath. I didn't realize I was dealing with that. I was just looking at it as another relationship down the drain. And I always took it as, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong that I keep messing up these relationships? But then I realized and I learned that No, when you're in a relationship with a toxic person, they can easily flip it on you, especially if they think you're desperate for love. If they think you are desperate, they look at your loyalty as desperation. Like, this person's too loyal to me. They're desperate. And that's how they looked at you when you stayed in the relationship with them, even after they were cutting with their words, after they were talking nasty to you, and they were, with the mood swings and being, belligerent and volatile with you. They looked at you staying there after all this I said to you, after all this I did, you're still here. And they took that as a form of desperation. You're desperate. So I can do or say whatever I want. You're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. And fellas, be very careful, because I know women have a way of charming. Oh, I know women have a way of doing that too. Okay. They will sit there and sweet talk you. They'll sit there and bat their little, their MAC eyelashes. They'll do all of that. And they will manage to convince you, because I know some of you have gone through it, and I know some of you have fallen for it and have gotten hoovered back in. I know for a fact. It's when you have someone tugging at your heartstrings, because you always have love for that person, even though they treat you like dirt, they treat you like crap, they cheated on you, they did all kinds of, mean, hurtful things, but because you forgive them. Listen, I'm all for forgiving, but not that taking them back in. No, I'm not with that. But because you forgive them, and because you try to give them the benefit of the doubt, and you say, okay, I'm going to give this person the benefit, and I'm just going to let them be in my life as a friend or what have you, they find ways to get back in. They women are a lot smarter than you think. Don't let the whole damsel in distress thing, don't let that fool you, man. Don't let it fool you. Men may have us on a physical level where, where strength is concerned. You guys have us there. Yes, I'll give you that much. But when it comes to psychological and it comes to emotional, women are very smart. Women are very smart. Women can be very sneaky, especially these manipulators. They're not stupid. They are not stupid. They know how to cry the crocodile tears. They know how to show that face of concern. They know how to appear genuine, but they're disingenuous. They know how to do all of these things. And if you're dealing with someone who's been manipulative to many other men before you, or women, whatever your preference is, you better believe they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Deshaun Ducci worked me like a toy to her, and I don't want to admit that's what happened. I get it. I get it. I get it. You and a lot of other men don't. No man ever wants to admit that a woman, my hair is like starting to flatten. No man ever wants to admit that a woman has abused them, physically abused them, emotionally abused them. And I get it. I get it. It's a man thing. It's a pride thing. It's just something that, yeah, there's some ego in it, but you got to understand something. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There really isn't. And people who make fun of your pain, or people who try to sit there and try to shame you or try to embarrass you, are the kind of people you don't need in your life, because it's a serious matter. It's very serious. It's not something to joke around about. It's not something to play games with. No. I'm sure Johnny Depp didn't want to go. He even said he didn't want to do this. He did not want to do this, and he gave her opportunity. He gave her opportunity. Excuse me. He gave her opportunity to just fall back on this, and she wouldn't do it. So he says, all right. When you have someone, who's telling the truth and basically is on their P's and Q's, I don't care if it was, a couple of years towards the end of the relationship where they figured, okay, this person is a manipulator. I'm going to have to protect myself. That's what he was doing. He was protecting himself. That's why he recorded all those conversations, because for some reason, his intuition told him, I'm going to need this because this chick is really manipulative. God knows what she can do. What she can do, what she would be willing to do. That's it. Don't fall asleep, guys. Yes, they are. And yeah, I mean, listen, with this whole situation, I'm sure people would love. Oh yeah. Z Bakes, my ex told me he loved me the other day. Understand, guys, if you have not been in contact with your narcissistic ex, okay, and they reach out to you out of nowhere, and they're just, you're like, oh shit, I can't believe this person's hitting me up. Do not respond. Do not respond. If they hit you up and say, I love you, I miss you, I want to work things out with you, or if they try to do some Michael Jackson shit, do you remember the time? Nope. No. Don't remember nothing. All I remember is that disrespect. All I remember is that degradation. All I remember is how you triangulated, the deflection. Okay? That's what I remember. I remember the projection. I remember the nasty mood swings. I remember how you talked down to me. I remember how you spoke to me like I was a piece of trash. You discarded me like I was nothing. Okay? You looked down your nose to me. That is what I remember. They hit you up because they're trying to check your temperature. They're trying to test the waters, and they're trying to check your temperature. And you're gonna stick your ass out. It's not to put the thermometer, it's to tell them to kiss it, because it ain't gonna happen. Okay? These people play mind games. This entire defamation trial should be prime example. Take notes of this. I want everybody, man, woman, take notes of how this trial is going on. Take notes of this, because this is exactly what happens with manipulators. They will throw you under the bus. They will try to drag your name in the mud and go as far as what the hell it is she's doing. She's looking like a damn fool up there. She really is. I cut my narcissist cousin off. Now, some of my family stopped talking to me because of her. You sometimes have to do it. Sometimes the tumor is, a lot closer to home. It's a lot closer to home than we think, you know? And sometimes you just have to face the fact that you can love your family, you just gotta love them from a distance, you know? People, the narcissistic family members will run that family card. Oh, well, we're family. We're family. That's where that sense of entitlement comes in. They feel entitled to your life, and they feel entitled to, controlling certain aspects of your life, because we're family. We're blood. You don't go against family. You don't go against the family. Not if you guys are emotionally, psychologically, you're just all mental. I'm not dealing with. I'll be the black sheep. I don't have a problem with that. I do not have a problem being the black sheep. Sometimes you have to cut them off sometimes. It's for your own sanity. It's for your own good. Yeah. She tried to ruin, yeah, you see? Yeah. Yeah. I've seen plenty of female narcissists, or I should say narcissistic females, because I can't diagnose them. I can't say, oh, that person's a narcissist. I'm going to say narcissistic females. I've seen them, sit there and, first of all, here's how you could tell the difference between someone who is a true victim, and this is how I learned that you could tell the difference between someone who's trying to manipulate the situation to appear to be the victim, and someone who's a true victim. Number one, a true victim, okay, of this form of abuse will not be so quick to be online talking all kinds of crap about their narcissistic ex, okay? Most victims are too embedded in shame and depression, the 5 stages of grief, going through the motions, going through the emotions. Okay. They are mostly secluding themselves because they're dealing with the PTSD, They're dealing with the trauma. They're not sitting out there talking about, oh, my ex is a little bitch. Oh, he got a small penis. Oh, she's a whore and this and that. No, they're not doing that. Okay. They're not doing all of that. You'd be lucky if you see someone being sociable. Okay. After a discard, being sociable online or with anybody else for probably a few months, they probably wouldn't even bother to be. And if they do go online, they're not posting. They're not sitting there doing, doing all kinds of stuff. If anything, after a discard, they're just pretty much, in the addiction stage. So they're monitoring, they're seeing things or whatever. But because they're so hurt by what happened, they're not sitting there calling their ex a piece of crap and a lying POS, even if that person treated them like crap, even if that person cheated on them. They're not doing all of that. Real victims are not doing all of this. Okay. But the people who get rejected by the other person who is sincere and genuine and the actual, the actual recipient of the abuse will be quick. They've been racking up all those posts. They've been racking up all those quotes. They've been racking them up and they're going to be quick to start posting them. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, take a breath, 7, 8, 9. They just keep posting and posting and posting. That's how you can tell a victim from a fucking liar. Okay. From someone who has been disingenuous, someone who was more than likely been the one doing all kinds of crap. Okay. That's how I learned how to decipher the difference between a narcissistic person and an actual victim. If someone's telling me, oh, Erica, yeah, they're online talking all this crap about their ex, right? And they're claiming they were discarded by a narcissist, and they're talking all this crap and just posting up all this crap online. And meantime, that other person was nowhere to be found. They go MIA. Victims go MIA. They kind of go on a hiatus. They don't even want to be around anyone because they're too busy trying to process what they went through. That's how I can tell the difference between the two. That's how I can tell. So if that person tells me, yeah, they're a narcissist and this and that, and they're sitting there and they're posting, and they're not even posting things about awareness. They're not posting things about trying to stay positive or trying to do things right by other people. They're posting insulting, indirectly, but they're posting insulting types of posts that are like, damn, and kind of makes you go, damn, like what the hell? That's how I know the difference. I pay attention to people. I pay close attention to people. And for me, it's like, okay, you're doing a little too much to be a victim that's post discard. You just got discarded. Yeah, I was just discarded. You were just discarded just a few hours ago, and you're sitting online doing all of this. No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because I know what I went through, and I wasn't sitting there talking all kinds of crap and doing all this about my ex. I wasn't doing all of that. I was faking the funk, and I was trying to pretend I was being happy and I was being positive, and I was trying to put uplifting stuff. But that got the best of me because I couldn't hide it anymore. And I said I had to so I shut off all my social media and I went on a hiatus for a few months. I had to heal. I had to try to heal. It was just too much. And then seeing that person and seeing their friends online was just triggering me. It just kept triggering me. And I was just so like anxiety ridden. I couldn't do it. I thought I could. I said, you know what? But no, you saw the pain in my face, guys. You could see the pain in my face. And I said, I had to heal from it. But not someone, this is why I tell people, be very careful. When you hear a story, there are always two sides to it. You got to make sure, but you got to pay attention to the people and how they interact with other people, especially after a discard. Most victims, they go into hiding mode. Yes. Yep. Yes, we hide our pain. Yeah. Because, they're kind of locked in shame and they feel guilty of, and most of the time they're feeling guilty because it's like, how did I let this happen? How did I allow this to go on? How did I not see it? They're too busy beating themselves up to be sitting there because they're still in love with the person. That's another thing. They're still in love with the person. They're not just going to sit there and talk all kinds, especially if they had no clarity. You're not going to sit there and be like, my ex is this and my ex is that. again, even if they did all kinds of craziness, they're not trying to sit there posting all their business out there like that. But a narcissist will do it for the quickness because they want the attention. They want that attention. They want all eyes on them. They want people feeling bad for them, trying to comfort them, trying to make them feel good because the actual victim who they played out to be a narcissist is being looked at as a monster. Cinderella, yes, and when I opened up, all I got was why you stayed too long. It's always like that. It's always like that. Why did you stay? If they're like this, why did you stay? If they're like that, why did you stay? I guess we don't understand that conditioning is not only in households, it's not only in parent children relationships, it's in romantic relationships too. You can be conditioned in your romantic relationship. Because if you stayed in a toxic relationship and you are very codependent and you were basically trying your hardest to make it work and trying your hardest to make them happy and seek their approval and make them feel good, I'm going to tell you something. There was no coincidence that you were involved with them. You were primed for that relationship. You were primed for that relationship. Anybody who has stayed in a toxic, abusive relationship was primed for that relationship. Okay? Meaning you've had other traumas in your life that has molded you to be accepting of that relationship. That narcissist just pretty much attached other things onto your relationship for you to be accepting of. But you were primed. If you were codependent, that came from somewhere. Okay? It came from somewhere. Whether it be your upbringing, it be your parents, it be whomever. Okay? If you had emotionally detached parents, that can cause codependency too. It doesn't have to just be a narcissist. That causes codependency too, because now it's like, okay, my parents are rejecting me. Something is wrong with me. What is wrong with me? And you try your best as children throughout your life. You try to seek their approval. You try everything possible to get them to notice you. You try everything possible to get them to show you some kind of love, show you some kind of empathy, show you some kind of emotions. You do all of that. Sound familiar, right? You were doing that in your relationship too. You were doing that in your relationship too. The relationship that you had was not a coincidence. Okay? And the fact that you stayed longer than necessary is clearly indicative of there were some traumas that you also had, which kind of kept you there. Don't get me wrong, that trauma bond was created between you and that person. Yes, it was. That person projected. Yes, that person triangulated. That person did a lot of different things to manipulate the situation to keep you in that relationship a lot longer than you should have been. But you did not stay simply because you wanted to stay. You stayed because there's also a trauma within you that felt a form of familiarity with the relationship and how things were going. So if you grew up trying to seek your parents' approval or trying to get love or get affection or emotions or what have you, okay, you kept trying your best to overextend everything and just, hey, mom, look at me. Somebody, please look at me. You were doing the same thing in your relationship. So your relationship was pretty much synonymous to the relationship you had with, if you guys dealt with codependency, pretty much the synonymous with the relationship you had with your parents, which is why a lot of people who end up with, ladies, if you end up with the kind of, man who is emotionally detached, who is emotionally immature, what have you, if you did not grow up with a solid, strong male role model in your life, or if your father was inconsistent in and out, this is why they say you were looking for your father in these relationships. Subconsciously, of course, not to sound nasty with it or, gross with it and say, you wanted your dad, but you wanted the kind of loving that you were supposed to get from your father throughout your life, or it could be a little other way around too. It could be your mom. It could be your mom too, but often when parents reject their kids, meaning when they abandon their kids, they instill something within the child, and the child feels, my dad rejected me or mom rejected me because I'm not good enough. I'm not, this is where that fear of abandonment comes in. This is where that lack of self-love comes in. This is where codependency comes in. They abandon me. That means something must be wrong with me. There must be something about me that, we're not thinking as kids, there's something wrong with mom or there's something wrong with dad. There's something wrong with me because they keep abandoning me. They keep rejecting me. They keep being inconsistent with me. So over time, you just basically end up in the really shitty relationships with the kind of people who do not deserve you because you're just trying to find that love. You're trying to find that level of validation and acceptance and approval. And unfortunately, nobody told you that the only one who could really do that for you is you. The only one who could really do that for you is you. And, it happens that way. When you have people who don't really love themselves, and I don't like to talk bad about people's parents. I'm not trying to talk bad, but these are the realities of things. If you had parents who really didn't have, a sense of identity, who really didn't have the kind of, empathetic, loving, caring, nurturing upbringing that, you probably give to your children now because you do the opposite of all of that, then it's going to reflect in their parenting. It's going to reflect in the relationship between the two of you. And in the end, guys, like I said, if anybody asks you, then why did you stay so long and this and that? Something, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't owe them an explanation. You can simply answer them with a question. Why did I even think that you're a friend, that I can confide in you and be vulnerable with you? So now that you're judging me, it goes to show what kind of person you really are. People fear what they don't understand. Okay? They fear what they don't understand. And if your issues are not beneficial to them, if your issues are not something that they can, like, okay, what do you want me to do? Or, what does this mean to me? Let them go. Let them go.
You want to talk about
What movie was that? We'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll do that next week. Yeah. Beauty baby. My dad always put work first in front of me and money. And the thing about that is too, because I was having a conversation with a man in regards to it. And I always tell people, again, don't take it personal. How your parents treat you, how people in your life treat you, don't take it personal. I always worked a lot. I worked a lot. Like, we're talking 6 days a week, and I worked nights. And most people would say, well, my mom used to tell me, you got to put your kid before work. You got to do X, Y, and Z. And the thing is that it's a lot easier said than done, but I never stopped showing my love, my love to my son. And I used to feel guilty because I always worked so much. I always worked a lot, to the point that up until a few years ago, I was working 2 jobs, 9 to 5 at one, and then 5 to midnight at another job. Okay. And I was pulling in almost 80 hours a week. And the reason, again, I love my son dearly, always, always will. But I did it because I always was concerned about his security, about making sure that he had a life that wasn't like mine. I grew up, majority of my life was in poverty. I grew up in the shelter system, and sometimes, we get to that point. Parents do get to that point where they don't want their kids to suffer, or they don't want their kids to experience the kind of life that they have. I'm pretty sure, again, I don't know the full relationship between you and your dad, but in the end, if he was the one who was trying to, like bring home the bread and butter and just do everything possible to, to make sure that the ends are met and to make sure that the house is taken care of. That's usually why they say it's important to have an equal balance between mom and dad. Dad is the one who structurizes. He's the one who's supposed to teach the men, the young boys how to be men and teach the young girls how to discern, the other men out there in the world, but be that strong role model in her life. And most of the time, it's usually the moms who would be the ones who are emotionally connected to the children on an emotional level, teaching them, empathy and love and all, the nurturing things, the maternal things. And it is difficult because you do have people, who don't know emotions, who don't know how to emotionally connect. Not to say they're narcissists, they just don't know how to emotionally connect. And they do what they know, and they work with what they know, So regardless of it, don't take it personal. Do not take it personal, because another person's inability to love, to be emotionally connected, has nothing to do with you. It doesn't. Okay? That has nothing to do with you. So in the end, you got to look at it this way. Even though it may or may not be their choice, they're the ones who lost out. They're the ones who lost out, because you still turn out to be an amazing person, and they won't be able to understand that or grow with that. And sometimes you just got to be okay with it and say, you know what? I'm recreating a new generation from this moment forward. I know, beauty baby. I know. And it's hard because you want to have that connection. You do want to have that connection. And it's not always easy. And I mean, listen, I don't know. I mean, if your dad is still here, like here in the physical, um, you can talk to him. That doesn't hurt to talk to him. It doesn't hurt to express how you feel. Let it, off your chest, even though it was years ago, when you were a kid. Often people, they end up reconciling their differences, and they end up actually, reconnecting and working things with them. In the end, at least, you would get it off your chest, and you would know that, at some point, forgive them. Just forgive them. It just, I mean, I don't know what kind of lifestyle he had growing up. A lot of the time, you have people that are, unaware of some of the things they do, or sometimes it's just, I don't know emotions. I don't know how to deal with it. I'm uncomfortable with dealing with it. And, it's just one of those things, you can't force them. But, healing definitely starts with forgiving. And, if you're willing to do that, then do it, and, maybe possibly reconnect and talk things out. It's never too late. It's never too late, and tell him how you feel. Because at the end, if he doesn't even respond to you the way you would like, at least you got it off your chest. At least you know that I said what I had to say, right? And then what he does with that, that's on him. Yeah, Heather. Grew up with a narcissist parents and now trying to escape my narcissist relationship with my kid's dad. And it's something that you have to really, you have to like plan these things out. It's not something that could just happen overnight. You have to like literally blueprint everything and plan these things out, because if it's not them ending the relationship, if it's not them rejecting you, discarding you, yeah, good luck getting rid of them. Good luck getting rid of them if it's you who's leaving them. It's really about doing things, being smart about things. Okay? Being very, very smart and being a step ahead. You have to try to work ways around them, because if it boils down to you rejecting them, or you abandoning them, They won't go out without a fight. Oh, Victor, thank you, sweetheart. Karen, I tried for 33 years. We never reconciled because he was not willing to do his part. I don't know how to feel other than disappointment. I get it. I get it. I get it. And you know something? People people will, I'm gonna honestly say, and I'm gonna use it for lack of a better word, people will naturally disappoint. They're gonna naturally disappoint. People are flawed. We're flawed by nature. We're just flawed. And in the end, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for what they do. And you know something? It's like I was saying to baby that, it's really about you. It's really about you. See, often victims of abuse, narcissistic abuse, domestic abuse, they feel the need to gain some form of closure, and they think that by doing so, it requires confronting the manipulator, confronting, the abuser, and telling them, what they needed to say to. You're welcome, beauty baby. You're very welcome. But they feel like it's something that they need to do to get that form of validation. And for the people who don't want to come to terms with their behaviors or don't want to sit there and really admit to their faults, you're never going to get that proper closure. And they know that. They know that. They are well aware of that. They know that you want the closure. They know that you want the, in that validation. They know these things. But because they know these things, they will basically take advantage of it, and they will sit there and not give it to you. This is where you come into place. This is where you take full control, because once you take control of things in your own way and you basically tell them, I don't need your validation, I don't need your explanation, I don't need any of those things. I'm just letting you know I forgive you. I forgive you, and I could just pray to God that he has mercy on you. That's it. That's all you can do. That's all we can do, As much as we would love to see these people pay for the things they have done, at the end of the day, us wishing bad upon them is a form of sorcery. We can't do that because we don't want that stuff coming back to us. So we just have to, let go, let God, and trust that he's going to see to it that they get what they deserve, what he feels they deserve. But as long as you did your part, you're good on your end. That's one less burden for you. One less burden for you to hold on to. And just say, you know what? I forgive. Because I wouldn't want to spend my life on this earth feeling disappointed or feeling mad or, hurt or upset. I'm gonna be 40 years old. Okay. And I say I give myself, give or take, about a good 30 years, 35 years, maybe. I just overcame codependency almost 4 years ago. I don't want to spend the rest of my life feeling like that. I don't want to spend the rest of my life being, feeling, oh God, I'm disappointed in this person. I couldn't believe it. I just learned to come to terms that things are to be expected. We learn to just kind of take everything with a grain of salt. That's it. And it's time to start living your lives. Everybody, start living your beautiful lives the way you always wanted to. You got to break free from these people, and now you're on your journey to healing. Starting a new chapter in your life, doing your own thing, and it's a new book. It's a new day. Start writing, and just start creating. That's it. These people they get left behind. That's where they're supposed to be. And if God has any intention on allowing them back in your life, it's because he's worked in their lives and he has healed them. He has carried them, and He sought them through everything. And even then, he's going to make sure that that person has true, genuine intentions. But he will not let these people affect you in your journey, for the sole purpose of what? To play with you, to toy with you? No, that's what the devil's for. I'm good on that one. He isn't going away without a fight, and it's dictating my life. I have no support system, but I'm trying. And Heather, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me. I could try to help you whatever best way I can. Any resources I can give you, any information I could give you. My email is narcsurvival101@gmail.com. You can definitely reach out to me on there. You can reach out to me on Instagram. Okay, if you want to send me a message, anything I can help you with. If I can help you with anything, I'll be more than glad to do it for you. Yeah. Yeah, beauty baby. It's about you guys now. Now it's about you guys. You guys have spent so much time making someone else a priority. Now it's your turn. It's your turn to start making yourselves a priority and start doing what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel good. Do what makes you happy. And anybody who tries to tell you otherwise, they're nothing but haters. They're nothing but haters. When I first started my channel and I started doing my content, and you're always going to have people out there hating and criticizing and talking all kinds of nonsense. But you know something? There's a reason why I'm still doing it, and there's a reason why so many more amazing people are gravitating towards me, because it's helping other people. It's sending out a message. So yeah, I'm going to continue doing it. And I'm not letting anything or anyone from my past, I'm not letting anyone mess with that. No one. Girl, my attitude was, I used to be so shy and humble and timid. And I'm still humble, but I used to be so timid and just like, I can't, and anxiety ridden. If I was in like large groups, I couldn't be around groups of people because I had like social anxiety. It was just like too much. And now, man, listen, now I got to meet, I'm talking to amazing people. I got, just awesome people joining on the lives and reaching out to me. I have people, hitting me up, people I didn't even know because I didn't even coach or anything, but who watched my videos and really just did the work, and they would message me and say, you don't know me, but yo, you helped save me. And I'm like, and it's a blessing. It's a blessing. As long as I know that you guys are good. That's all that matters to me. That's all that matters to me. Don't let these haters, let them talk, let them do whatever they want. Okay. The only way their words have power over you is if you allow it. If you allow it. Okay. You make that confidence bulletproof. Okay. Make that confidence bulletproof. Don't let anyone try to shatter you or break you down, especially when you work so hard to build yourselves up and just to get on with your life and heal. Because you guys, we all took L's, man. All of us took L's. We all took them. Now's the time to stop taking them. Now's the time to stop taking them and just say, you know what? I took that L. I'm leaving it there. I'm moving on. That's it. That's it. You deserve it. Yeah, you guys deserve it. I thank you, Country Club Girl. Thank you so much. I'm just so glad that I could be a part of it for you guys, and I could be here with you guys and talk to you guys about it, and, and just, sorry guys, just give me 1 second. My things are going up so fast. Thank you, beauty baby. Thank you. And if you guys, like I said, guys, if you guys ever need me, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to me. You guys have my email. You got my Instagram. You got all my stuff. The only thing you need is my social security number and my blood sample. That's it. And unless somebody's good at like hiking up a credit score, I'm not giving them a social security number, but I mean, hey, if you need me to donate blood, I do that too. I donate blood too. Oh, Star Silva, thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you for being here too. Thank you for joining. Anybody who's new, who just joined who joined the live, who's following the channel. Thank you so much for just being a part of this. Even if you were just, sitting in for a bit just to observe, thank you. Just know that I do come on live every week. It rotates between Tuesday and Wednesday. So I will be back here next week, Wednesday. I'm working on a new video, for you guys. And, I also have this weekend coming up. If you're interested, I have a group meeting. It's a group chat meeting, Skype, for anybody who wants to join. It's for free. You don't have to, there's no payment or anything like that. You guys can join, talk with other people who've been there and or who are going through it and just want to help, just want to help out and